The house was clean. Too clean. The kind of clean that happens when someone treats living like a checklist. Vacuum at 7:15, dishes by 7:45, children bathed by 8:30, wife acknowledged by 9 o'clock, sleep by 10 o'clock. Repeat. I stood in our kitchen on a Tuesday evening, watching my husband move through the motions of being alive. He came through the door at exactly 5:17, briefcase on the hook, shoes on the mat, jacket over the chair. All of it done with the efficiency of a machine performing its designated tasks. How was work? Fantastic. The same word he used with customers, with strangers, with people who didn't matter enough to tell the truth. He moved to the sink and began washing dishes that could wait, that didn't need his immediate attention. But he washed them anyway. 6 years ago, I married a man who laughed so hard at his own jokes he couldn't finish telling them. A man who did silly voices during bedtime stories. A man who danced badly in the kitchen while I cooked, spinning me around between stirring pasta. That man had disappeared. In his place stood this robot, this efficient, dutiful, joyless automaton who checked boxes and went through the motions as if following an instruction manual he didn't enjoy reading. Our son Tommy, age 4, came running in, superhero cape flying. "Daddy, play dragons with me!" My husband set down the dish, dried his hands with mechanical precision, and made a growling sound. Not playful, just a sound. A performance of what a dragon might sound like if dragons felt nothing at all. 7 minutes. That's how long he played before standing up, ruffling Tommy's hair and saying, "Daddy means to vacuum now, buddy." Tommy's face fell. He felt it too. The absence. Our daughter Lily, age 6, barely looked up anymore when he came home. She'd learned that the man who walked through that door wasn't the daddy who used to turn math into games. Now he just checked her work with clinical efficiency and moved on. I was 8 months pregnant with our third child. But that wasn't what scared me. What scared me was bringing a baby into a house with a father who had forgotten how to feel. The evening proceeded like clockwork. Vacuum, dinner, bath time. He washed the kids efficiently. No splash fights, no rubber duck voices. Stories with no character voices, no dramatic pauses. By 9 o'clock, it was our time. We used to talk about our days, our dreams, laugh at stupid videos, debate bedroom paint colors. Now it felt like a scheduled meeting with a coworker. I told him about Tommy's tantrum, the call from my mother, the baby kicking. He nodded at appropriate intervals, made appropriate sounds, offered nothing of his own. Our sex life became one-sided. I initiated frequently. He participated, but his mind was somewhere else entirely. It felt like making love to a ghost, like being intimate with someone who wasn't really there. Afterward, he kissed my forehead with all the passion of someone stamping a document and rolled over to sleep. I lay there in the dark, his back to me, and cried silently. He was 18 inches away, and I missed him like he'd died. The next morning, I made a decision. I couldn't keep pretending. I spent the day thinking about how to reach him, how to break through whatever wall he'd built. By the time 5:17 rolled around, I knew what I had to do. After the kids were in bed, I took his hand. He looked surprised. Actual surprise. The first real emotion I'd seen in weeks. "We need to talk." I led him to our bedroom and sat him down on the edge of our bed. My heart hammered. This was it. I pulled out my phone and opened the post I'd written at 2 a.m., the one where I'd poured out all my fears to strangers because I couldn't figure out how to say them to him. "I need you to read this. I need you to see what I've been seeing." He took the phone, confusion crossing his face, and began to read. And then he started crying. Not tears. Full, body-shaking sobs from somewhere deep and buried. In 6 years of marriage, I had never seen him cry. Not at our wedding, not at our children's births, not at his father's funeral. But now, reading about himself through my eyes, something inside him shattered. I wrapped my arms around him and held on as he fell apart. His whole body shook, his face buried in my shoulder, years of suppressed emotion pouring out. It took several minutes before he could speak. When he finally pulled back, his face was red and wet and more alive than it had been in months. "I'm sorry. I didn't know you could see it. I thought I was protecting you." "Protecting me from what?" He took a shaky breath, and the words came tumbling out. "The world is in a shitty place right now. Everything is falling apart. And we're bringing another child into this, another life I'm responsible for when everything feels like it's constantly on the verge of collapse." His hands were shaking. I held them steady. "When you got pregnant, I felt this weight, like I had to step up, take care of everything, be stronger. I needed to be the provider, the protector, the man who had it all figured out. But it was so much harder than I thought. I kept doubling down, working harder, never stopping, thinking I could power through it. But the tunnel just kept getting darker. The weight kept getting heavier. Eventually, I couldn't see an end. I couldn't see anything except the next task. I feel like I'm constantly drowning. The only moment I can breathe is in the car between work and home. Those 15 minutes in traffic when no one needs anything from me. That's the only time I can breathe." My heart broke. How had I not seen this? Sometimes the stress is so much that I throw up. In the bathroom at work, in the garage before I come inside. Then I just pop a piece of gum and keep going. He pulled a pack of gum from his pocket, hand trembling. "This is for when it happens." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't want to burden you. You're pregnant, taking care of the kids. I thought if I told you how bad it was, you'd stop seeing me as someone strong enough to deserve you. I thought you'd stop loving me." "What?" "Because what am I without that? If I'm not the provider, if I'm not strong, then what good am I? Some days I fantasize about packing a suitcase and running to some tropical island for a week, not telling anyone, just stopping, just breathing. But then I feel terrible, so I push it down and double down even harder." I grabbed his face in both hands and made him look at me. "Listen to me. I love you. Not because you're a provider, not because you're strong. I love you because you're you, the real you, the man who makes terrible jokes and sometimes needs to fall apart. That's who I married. This robot version? I don't need that. I don't want that. I want my husband back, the one who's human enough to be messy and imperfect and sometimes drowning. You need a break, a real break, not 15 minutes in traffic." He tried to protest. I refused to back down. Finally, we reached a compromise. He would take time off, but we'd take it together. A week away, just the two of us, like when we first got married. After the pandemic eased, before the baby came. "Tomorrow," I said, "you're taking a sick day. You're going to sleep in. No chores, no schedule. Just rest." "I can't just—" "Yes, you can. I'll call your boss. And you're going to stay home and remember what it feels like to not be drowning." He looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw something flicker back to life in his eyes. Okay. That night, after our talk, he went to play with the kids before bed. And for the first time in months, it didn't look like a chore. He laughed at Tommy's superhero voice. He helped Lily with her homework and made up a story about the numbers again. I stood in the doorway and watched, and I saw him. Not the robot, my husband. Still tired, still carrying weight, but human again. Real again. Here again. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. One conversation wouldn't fix everything. But we'd taken the first step. We'd broken through the wall. We'd reminded him that asking for help wasn't weakness. We'd set up daddy time every day, an hour where he could just exist without being needed. We'd figure it out together, because that's what partners do. Later that night, we lay in bed together, not on opposite sides. He held me, his hand resting where our baby kicked. "Thank you," he whispered, "for seeing me, for not letting me disappear." I kissed his shoulder. "Always. I'll always see you." He fell asleep in my arms that night, really asleep. His breathing was deep and even, the tension that had been holding him rigid for months slowly beginning to ease. My husband became a robot because he thought that's what we needed. He thought being a machine was better than being a man who struggled. But he was wrong. We didn't need a robot. We needed him, human. And slowly, carefully, that's what he was becoming again.